Welcome, welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we're talking about how right-wing misinformation is being spread to Black voters through podcasts and influencers, or so the media says. And joining me today are my wonderful and powerful co-queens. We have with us Miss Erica Lewis. She's the author of Faith in Transition. We have Athena Gardner. She's a CPA and founder of WeWealthWomen.com. We also have with us Dr. Charm, the wonderful Dr. Charm. She is a spiritual coach, stand-up comedian, and she just does wonderful work. Oh, she's also an author, y'all. I'm shameless plug. And speaking of authors, we also have with us Miss Constance Carter. She is a wealth activist, and her slogan is "Nobody works harder than Constance Carter." So, welcome to this panel. We are really, really excited to have this conversation. I love talking about politics. I'm your host, Jade Harrell. And so here we are. You're tuned in to flynubianmoney.com. So make sure you go over to our website. Definitely check out what we have over there. Text the word Queens with an S to the number 87948. That's 87948. And you'll be notified when we do go live. And then when we have special offers and special events, giveaways, etc. All right. So what do y'all say? Do you believe that misinformation is being spread to Black voters via influencers? Let me hear what you have to say. Let's start with Dr. Charm.
Yes, I think a lot of pandering is going on to Black voters. I just watched the BET Awards and Kamala Harris and Taraji talking about they not like us that was a bit much to take. It was the Get Black People to Vote Democrat Awards. And I'm not telling people to vote either way. It's an election year, so everybody's pandering to the Black vote. I think people need to make informed decisions. I think you need to definitely evaluate what's going on with your local government, because that's where your vote makes a huge impact. But I definitely would agree that there is a lot of attention garnered towards Black voters at this point.
Thank you for that. Constance, what do you think?
I mean, it always is every election cycle, right? And so what I don't like is how they make it so dire. Vote or die. And we ain't dead yet. Of course, there's a lot of things that, a lot of issues that I know that affect us. But they absolutely are pandering. There absolutely is a lot of misinformation out there, but I think it's on both sides. With the power of the internet, you can edit anything to say anything. And then you throw AI on top of that, and you could have Biden breakdancing and it looked absolutely real. So you just really, you don't know what's real out there, but I do believe that a lot of misinformation is fed to us. And if you only listen to the headlines, if you only listen to the sound bites, you're not going to get all the information. And so I know that it's up to us individually to really dig down and see, what really is going to affect us, like really, 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 really. There are some things on both sides that I think are important, on the Democratic side and the Republican side. And so you just got to weigh, what's more valuable to you. But don't everybody who's listening stop listening to the headlines and the sound bites and really do the research for yourself.
Thank you for that, Constance. Erica, have you heard specific examples of any misinformation targeted towards Black voters?
There's just a lot going on. To say misinformation, I think there's a lot of misleading. I think that people know that the Black vote, anything dealing with Black America, is powerful because we have power. We have strength in numbers. And I just don't think that we realize the influence and the power that we have. So I think that we need to start making conscious decisions to start listening, paying attention to facts, and start doing our own deep dives. Get down into that rabbit hole of truth and start getting information. No, we're not going to get the truth right off the bat. No, we're not going to get everything on mainstream media. You're going to have to start digging and diving into getting information and looking at the background of people to see what it is, what their backgrounds are, what they've done in previous years, to see, how we've gotten to this place. Because a lot of what people are saying on platforms now are not what they were saying 35, 40, 50 years ago.
Got you. Thank you so much for that. And Athena, have you heard or seen any specific pieces of misinformation targeted towards Black voters?
For me, all right, so I don't really look to podcasts influencers and things to get my information. So most of my information will come from actual newspaper, but even if anyone really studies media, even that is propagandized. So my question for us all is basically, where is the great source of information and where can we find that great source of information? I'm not even surprised by like Constant, I think it was Constance, or was it no, Dr. Charm. She said that that Taraji Kamala Harris thing was kind of like a little bit of pandering. I think what a lot of politicians do is they try to meet us where they think they find us. So they know that our audience is particularly plugged into BET Awards or different podcasts, maybe Joe Budden podcasts, different things. So I think I wouldn't be even surprised if some of these major podcasters and influencers are getting cut checks on the back to like support or even push out information as well. So for me, I'm just happy to have my Black job and to show up and to really look into that. I do think that, as I think Constance said, or maybe it was Dr. Charm, that we need to look from a local perspective when it comes to voting. And then for this election particularly, I would say focus more so on the agendas of the parties involved versus the candidates, because the candidates on both sides looking crazy to me right now.
Got it. Thank you for that first round of discussion, ladies. If you all are just tuning in the chat, we are having this conversation today. Are Black voters used and abused? Why are we used and abused? And are Black influencers peddling misinformation to Black voters? I want you all to vote in the chat. Yes or no? Do you believe that influencers are peddling misinformation to Black voters? Let us know what you think, and we would love to pop up some of your comments on the screen. Also, if you're just tuning in, make sure you follow us. You come over here to our Fly Nubian Money panels. We are here weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at Fly Nubian Queens YouTube channel. We're also on Spotify, so definitely go over to Spotify and subscribe to our channel, catch all of our podcasts, and text the word Queens to the number 87948. That's QUEENS. Please don't forget the S, right? Text it to the number 87948 and you'll be notified when we go live and stuff. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. The impetus of this conversation came based off of an article that came out of, it was a report, right? That MSNBC reported on this report put out by, if you ask me, a bunch of colonizers, and they were accusing Black influencers, specifically our brother Joe Budden, 19 Keys, and others. I think Stephen A. Smith's face was on there, but they were accusing them of spreading misinformation to target Black voters to encourage them to vote for Trump or to vote, to vote right, to vote Republican. So I thought that this was a very, very, very unfair portrayal of some of the thought leaders and influencers in our community. And I wanted to kind of get you all's thoughts on that. Any specific thoughts, generally speaking, about this idea that the men that you saw on the screen and other Black influencers are using their platforms to encourage people, Black folks, to vote red?
I actually want to say something because I saw the three men in the lineup. I also feel like those men are specifically targeted because of how they present. Mind you, these men on their shows are very like critical and hard, and these are the facts, and very passionate in their delivery. And they're very good speakers. And I think what happens with the audience when we sometimes plug into people who are charismatic or passionate about what they're speaking is that we confuse passion for competency and accuracy. And I think that is something that we need to take a look at when we are evaluating information. Also, why didn't they find like a Hill Harper or someone, or Angela Rye, or people who are Black people within that political space who probably will be more informed and be able to give us more accurate information than Black people in the entertainment space? I think that the specific people that may be benefiting from being that way is because that it reflects how they view Black people and the Black vote. They view us as people who only care about entertainment, and they do not take us seriously in the political space.
Lyndon Baines Johnson said that
Interesting.
when he passed this civil rights bill, he would have Black people voting Democrat for the next 50 years. And that's exactly what's happened. And I think people are so shocked that we're starting to question the decisions that we made, that we just had to, that our influences just have to be paid Trump supporters, or they have to be pro-Trump, in the fact that they're questioning the decisions that have been made, and the fact that as a Democrat, as the largest and most influential Democratic voting base, that we haven't had specifically our needs met, and we're starting to ask questions. And so what is wrong with Black people asking questions when we are the base of the Democratic Party? And they just assume that we're all going to vote Democrat. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about us voting as a voting bloc on issues. And the issues that are important to us are policing, the inequality, economic inequality, and some of the other issues that are important to us are reparations for a large group of our people. There are a lot of issues that are important to Black people, and we need to have these issues catered to in exchange for our vote. It has to be in exchange.
I mean, yeah, it's a transaction. It's like going to the store and buying a pair of shoes. And if I'm a size 8, right? So I have no use for a size 6.5. I'm not obligated to go into Macy's to give them my money and buy a pair of shoes that just don't fit, that I don't need, right? And whatever. So it's transactional. The Black vote is up for sale, and my vote goes to the highest bidder. So I wanted to throw that out there. So thank you, Dr. Charm and Athena, for kicking us off on that. Let's go over to Erica. Any thoughts so far about this, about those men that we saw particularly targeted within that article? What are your thoughts? Do you think that the media is just OD? Are they mad that a lot of Black folks are delineating or leaving the Democratic Party in large numbers? What do you think?
What's funny to me is if we look back at history in the 60s, how politicians were running to the church. The 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, you couldn't pull them away from the pastors in the Black church. And now they're posturing in Black media. So they've elevated themselves from the church, and now they're going to mainstream media, and then they're going to our media outlets. So I think we need to look at that. This is a pattern here. We've seen this before. It's just being presented differently. Yes, they know that the Black vote counts. What I also think is quite interesting is that those three men, a range of demographic between baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, like they cover a wide range of group. So I really think it's important to look and see, like, they're being quite strategic on how they're trying to get our attention. The BET Awards, they think all of us are watching. I mean, I didn't watch the BET Awards, not because I don't like BET, but just it's not my thing anymore. If it had been the 90s, I probably would have been face first in the screen, but I'm not in the demographic of of the young people, that I didn't know half of the people that were performing. So I think they're being very strategic, getting that 18 to 35 group to get them out there to vote in a certain way, and to kind of get their attention, to divert this way versus thinking for themselves. It is very important that we have our own information, that we get it. And then you have to make a decision based upon facts and what your needs are. Because as we sit here as 5 individual women, we can all come up with the same level of facts, but are we going to vote the same? No, because our needs are different based upon those facts.
Thank you. Absolutely. Constance.
I think we can pontificate ad nauseum about the issues, but the bottom line is they're all liars. Democrats, Republicans, ain't no facts. At the end of the day, they all are out for one thing, and that's themselves. When you look at what's just happened yesterday with the Supreme Court, Donald Trump isn't even in office, and look how much power he has. Like, at the end of the day, nobody is looking out for you, Black people. We got to look out for ourselves. And they're all the same face, just behind, different colors, red or blue, blood or Crip. That's what they are. They're gangbangers. That's all they are. Somebody mentioned Lyndon B. Johnson, and one of the things he said is, if you can make the lowest white man think that he's better than the best colored man, he won't even know that you're picking his pockets. In fact, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll give you everything he has. It's all about the green. It's all about the money. They don't give a fuck about y'all. They don't give a fuck about us. So we have to really work together. And I'm sorry I said it, but they don't. America's fucked up. Politics are fucked up, period. We really have to just look out for ourselves. Black people, we got to practice collective economics. We have to do for ourselves. Do I believe we got to vote? Sure. But at the end of the day, they going to do what the fuck they want to do anyway, period, whether who's in office. So we can talk about it all day, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do. Ain't nothing we can do about it. We got to work together, Black people, to preserve our community, period.
Well, that's a whole mic drop. That was a whole word from Constance Carter. I concur. And I also have a t-shirt on that says, I vote for me. But I am I am voting for Dr. Cornel West in this particular election. And I'm a strong proponent of voting locally, especially for these judges, y'all, because we see what's happening within the criminal justice system. But voting locally is very important. I want to read some stats, and then we're going to go to a video. Question came up about the percentage of Black people voting Democrat. Thank you, Dr. Trump, for raising this question too. In recent presidential elections, around 90% of Black voters have consistently supported Democratic candidates. 90%. Okay. For example, in the 2020 election, about 92% of Black voters supported Joe Biden, the Democratic candidate. The percentage of the Democratic vote made up by Black people is a substantial portion of the Democratic electorate. In the 2020 election, they comprised approximately 13% of the overall Democratic vote. This reflects, this has large implications in terms of how powerful the Black vote is in sustaining a Democratic Party that's not delivering Black policies. So with that being said, let's go to a video. We have a video that we want to show you on this topic. In the meantime, in between time, I love to see your comments coming in through the chat.
Let's stick with 2024 if we can, because there is this new report out saying that tens of millions of Americans are being targeted with a ton of disinformation in online Black spaces ahead of the 2024 presidential election. It highlights 3 significant threats to Black voter engagement in November, including getting people to not care about voting or the election at all. President Biden's broken promises, real and, by the way, made up, and stoking divisions amongst Black voters via certain influencers who knowingly and unknowingly spread disinformation, like, for instance, Candace Owens, who has millions of followers on various platforms. She said blatantly inaccurate things, like, by the way, vaccines cause a, quote, explosion of childhood cancer, and that the Uvalde shooter who killed 19 children was transgender. NBC's Marquise Francis just dropped a story on NBCnews.com for us and is joining us now with more on this. Break this all down for us.
Okay, she said a lot. I don't even watch that network, by the way. I don't even know where to start with that. Let me start with my sister. Let's go with Constance.
What's up? What's the question?
I don't even know. She said a lot just now. It was interesting. I know she brought up Candace Owens. I have my opinion.
Candace Owens is peddling to whoever. Like, she was just on the chitlin circuit a couple of months ago, and then Black people was like, "Yeah, Candace Owens," and then now she back doing what she doing. And she didn't offended the Jews. Now they didn't throw her away. Like, all these people, it's all propaganda, you guys. I just need you guys to understand that we take so much stock in what these people online in the media got to say, and it's all fake. It really is. It's a lot of stuff going on in the background. And again, all I got to say is for us, because there is a real wealth gap, y'all. By the year 2053, our wealth is going to be a 0. That's what we need to be focusing on, is how do we bring our community together? How do we empower ourselves? There was actually a study in 2022 that said the median wealth of white people went up to $1.2 million while Black wealth is $200,000. They have $1 million more wealth than we got right now. Let's focus on working together. Let's focus on building ourselves, building our people, building our children. That's what I want us to focus on. I know politics are important. I know women's reproductive rights is important. I hate that they lump everybody else in with us because their issues aren't our issues. They got up there. If ain't nobody talking about reparations, I ain't fucking with them. Real talk. Biden was very clear that he didn't support reparations. We still put him in office. And guess what he did? He started signing bills for everybody else. And Black people are the ones that put him in office. So they not like us, y'all. They are not like us. They don't give a fuck about us. Black people got to start looking out for Black people, period. And we can't look to the politicians to do it.
Thank you,
Listen,
Erica.
I almost wanted to shake my tambourine on that.
I saw that, but I want to go to Erica because I saw Erica like jump out her chair. So let's.
I just want to take up a love offering for Candace. Let's pass the plate. I just want to take up a love offering.
Listen, let me just say that Candace is on my shit list because that whole disgusting documentary on George Floyd with all of this.
I'm sorry, not Candace. I'm sorry, Constance, my sister here.
Oh, okay.
My apologies. I got my C's mixed up.
Everybody always call me Candace. Don't even worry about it. I knew what you was talking about, girl.
Something says, hail to the queen. Let's take up a love offering for this woman right here because, yes, this man clearly has talked trash about Black folks for most of his political career. Let's just be honest. It's been public knowledge. It's not been hidden. And then he cosplayed us once again and threw a woman in there who's, in my opinion, put on blackface to say she was Black. I want to know where all the sorority sisters are. Where's the chucks and pearls at? That was all out there shucking and jiving. I'm sorry, shout out to all my, sorority sisters, but where is everybody? Because, she ain't got no chucks on and she ain't wearing no pearls. And my biggest concern is, we're talking about the two administrations. We're talking about the two men. But my question is about this woman. We're talking about Kamala Harris. My very big concern is if Biden does get reelected. Let's think about this, because let's think of all of the damage that she did when she was in California in the position she was in. If Biden gets back in office and something happens to him and he needs to be sat down, do we realize that this woman will be sworn in running the country?
Yeah.
Do we want that? And I have asked that. I was on another platform a few months ago for political talk, and that was a question that I raised, and nobody seemed to nobody thought about it. It's like that is a huge possibility that this woman could end up running the country. And then what?
Do you think Black people would be happy with Kamala because she's Black and would be the first Black woman? Do you think that would be well received, or do you think that people would be upset with that?
I think it would be emotional, and I think we talked about this on another day during the course of the week, where we get so emotional because people look like us, yeah, but like you said, like my girl said, they're not like us. She's not for us. She may look like us, but is she for us? That's the question. No, she's for self-gain. And that's what a lot of your politicians, they're all for self-gain. That's why I said a few days ago, we have to stop making emotional elections. I mean, think about it. How many people voted for Obama just because he was Black? Let's just call it what it is. Folks got excited. I had to catch myself. It's the truth. So it's like, where are we? We have to really start doing a deep dive. Is anybody 100% for our community? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Athena, I wanted to ask you about the impact of misinformation. How does that affect the financial decision making of Black voters? Like, what have you seen? What are some of the trends? And I know that you're a CPA, so.
I think that, and I'm glad that you asked me this question. I think that historically, right, we have always voted the Democratic Party because they have marketed themselves to be the party that are more concerned with the issues that involve us. And I think now the Black voter, or what I've seen from people, is that they're starting to question if that should be the move that they're making. And I find a lot of people have these conflicts, whether, okay, I don't necessarily like what the Democratic Party is doing, but I don't necessarily like Trump because he's, racist, or he's talking about black job or whatever. So who's the person that I'm supposed to vote for? Another thing that I find is, in general, I mean, a lot of us on the panel are very educated in, Black history and Black affairs and everything like that. But honestly, the average Black person has a very limited scope of Black history. Most of the history that we understand is that slavery and then onward. We don't know prior, or we don't know what to do. So I think most of the struggle that we're going to be facing as a group is to just decide, okay, what should be our plan? What are the things that we should vote for? Is it reparations? And if so, what kind of reparations? So what I would like to give to the audience today is some reference to book material. I know Dr. Charm and Constance referenced, but Dr. Claude Anderson has a book called Powernomics. On chapter 7, it goes into group politics. Powernomics is a book that has laid out a plan for Black America and our wealth and how to advance. We do not need to rewrite, everything. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Dr. Claude Anderson already laid out an agenda that would advance us. Unfortunately, it's been very difficult to implement this agenda. However, if you are someone who wants to advance our wealth, bridge the wealth gap, like Constance said, and also advance our agenda and just get a general understanding, this is a great book to have. I think it's on blackfinancialliteracystore.com. I encourage everyone to read that, because I think part of our issue, to not fully blame it on the politicians and the influencers, we have not come together as a group and decided what it is we're going to push for. We're very much divided. And even though, Black people are not a monolith, when it comes to the political game, it's very much group economics, group policy, and we need to just hone in on that. And I think what Dr. Claude Anderson has laid out in this book will advance us in that way.
Thank you. Yeah. And thank you for bringing that up, because I was definitely going to circle back to, Dr. Charm on this topic. Which strategies do you think, Dr. Charm, can Black voters use to verify information and make informed financial decisions?
I definitely, believe doing a cursory Google search in your area is important. Focusing on what are the stats in what's important to you. So looking at police brutality, looking at the judges in your local area. Like, they have, a lot of people don't know that, like, your local bar association, when you're looking at your judges, they have you can look at who is recommended and looking at some of their case histories. That's one of the things I started doing when I wanted to become a more informed voter, because I was Democrat and just voting Democrat down the line. And I started to kind of actually just look up these judges and look at what are their histories. Like, for instance, this whole thing with the Young Thug case here in Atlanta, the Judge Glanville actually recused himself because he had secret communications with the prosecutors. And so you're looking at some of these cases and things, and this becomes grounds for some of these judges to be recalled from their positions. So I'm more about looking at local things. Also, just looking at what your candidate, who are the candidates, and looking at some of the things that they've actually said in the media. Looking at the debates. I think debates are important because it does get their opinion on specific issues. So I think with all those things, that you can become more informed.
Thank you so much. If you all are just tuning in, you're tuned in right here at Fly Nubian Money. And we're here weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And today we're having this conversation about Black voters being targeted with misinformation. Definitely text the word Queens. That's QUEENS to the number 87948. That's 87948. And don't forget that Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. So tune in to Spotify as well to check us out. So I have a couple comments. Thank you for bringing up all of those strategies, Dr. Charm. One of the things I did is I always talk about serving on the county committee when I lived in Brooklyn, New York, for the Democratic Party. And I represented the constituents literally around, like, in my neighborhood. So I had to go through the Board of Elections, have people vote for me, canvass in the whole 9 yards. And I served 2 terms before, leaving the state of New York. And the most satisfying part of that experience was being able to see every single candidate that wanted to run on any ballot for any race as a Democrat. They had to come through the county committee and get the endorsement of the committee. So we had to vote on these people, and we actually got to look at judges that were running for, all of these different positions. And people don't understand how important that is. Even the public advocate, the attorney general, all of these different offices. And oftentimes when people hear about voting or think about voting, they usually just get activated. The average American only gets activated around the presidential election time. Senators, representatives for Congress is so important. Even state senators and representatives are also important, governors and stuff. So, you know, we definitely want to make sure that folks are informed and become, if they choose to vote, because I'm not voter shaming anyone. If you choose to, you know, cool. If you don't, then, you know, that's your decision as well. But just being active and looking at those offices as well. The other thing too about misinformation, this topic is a very interesting topic. I just think that this is more left-wing propaganda, and I'm talking about this MSNBC article in particular that is really targeting many Black influencers, particularly Black men that do have opinions, because yeah, we actually do get to think for ourselves. And when we see inconsistencies that are being peddled out in the media, like, we reserve the right to speak up against those things. Like, you know, during the Rona, during the pandemic, there was a lot going on. There was a lot of misinformation coming out of very, very high offices, right? And there were policies and people were targeting on social media, etc. And you fast forward years, you know, down the line, a lot of that information that was being put out by influencers such as my brother Reza Islam, that information turned out to be true, right? But they were named disinformation. There was a whole disinformation dozens, and their names were published on the White House's website. So it's a fine line between, you know, determining what is information and what is disinformation. And what I'm seeing oftentimes is more disinformation coming out from mainstream news media outlets than there are from influencers. But hey, that's just my opinion. Anybody want to chime in on that? Feel free to come off your mic.
I'm glad that you mentioned Reza Islam, because I remember he was very, especially during, you know, COVID, he was very much so giving really good and accurate information. And I think he had to, like, they took off his Instagram page. Like, he was definitely targeted. So what does that mean? That means even if you're a person who is standing on truth and on business, that you will definitely pay a price for that. So what is the incentive for people to really do that at the end of the day, right? To fall on the sword and take on those risks. And that's why we're having such a problem with, you know, people having these political talks or these stances, or trying to get maybe even information that's not even common, right, to the forefront for us to consider. Because anything, what we know from history is anything that is advancing Black people in any way will be targeted for destruction, will be sabotaged in some way, will be undone in some way. There is efforts being made. What I will say for people who are looking at this election, or just any political anything, is to understand that the people at the head of these parties or these candidates are pretty much so figureheads in a lot of their roles. A lot of their roles are mostly titular roles. What we need to understand is that there's a funnel and a hierarchy of that. You might see the president, behind it is that whole government body, which we understand government means governing your mental, governing how you think. And behind that are lobbyists representing companies, representing corporations, representing rich families. So really, it doesn't matter who is sitting on this seat. Now, I'm not saying for people not to vote. What I'm saying is that, similar to what Constance was pushing, is that we need to, regardless whoever is sitting on that seat, come up with our plan for what we are going to do.
Got you. Thank you so much. As we continue this conversation, I would love for us to, if you feel comfortable, we can go around and state our political affiliation. So question is, you know, would you mind sharing your political association and why you've decided to vote or not vote that way? So, or not vote at all. So let's start with Erica.
Hey, Jay. Well, I'll say this. I'm going to give a little backstory real quick. So during the whole COVID thing, I was actually working on ships. So I didn't vote for a couple of years because I was working on ships. So I was out of the country. And it gave me the opportunity to actually sit back and look and see what was going on from a broader scope because I was not in the country. Then when COVID happened, I just so happened to be working mid-contract and was stuck at sea for 55 days. So I really had time to sit and think. So I changed my, I had grown up, Democratic. I had grown up Democratic my entire life because my whole family was. And when I registered to vote in high school, That's what they said you had to do, so that's what I did. I have since switched over to Republican. I have. For personal reasons, and I just don't see what the Democrats are doing for us. I don't see, just looking back 30, 40 years ago when I was in high school, and just looking at the state of like my lineage, my family, they all voted Democrat, and I don't see what the community that I grew up in has benefited from a local perspective to federal. So I have switched over to Democratic, to Republican.
Thank you. And what city are you in, or state?
I am in New Jersey.
Jersey. Okay, South Jersey or North Jersey?
No. I'm up.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So, same question, Dr. Charm. Would you mind sharing your political association and why you decided to vote that way?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a registered Democrat, but at this point, I'm probably going to turn independent. I'm really concerned with the policies that the Democrats have been upholding. I'm really concerned with the whole mass migration of how these migrants are getting. And I consider economic immigrants are getting millions and millions of local dollars that take away from the local Black community, specifically in Chicago. My own property in Chicago, my property taxes have significantly raised. And, we're seeing the migrants get rental assistance. I think they're getting $7,000 in benefits per person per month. I mean, in Chicago alone, it's been 50 million.
In New Jersey, it's 9. In New Jersey, it's 9,000.
Yeah, so they got like $50 million, I think, within the first 6 months. And we're literally seeing services that were denied to Black homeless people, such as warming buses, being able to sleep at the police station. There's a local activist in Chicago, Inglewood Barbie, who posts on Instagram and has really goes out there, and she actually feeds the homeless from February all the way till April in Chicago. And she's they basically kicked, she calls them the Friends. They kicked them out of the police stations in Chicago when it got really cold on those nights where they can sleep at 51st and Wentworth. And they, then we see the migrants get warming buses. So I have an issue with non-citizens getting benefits that citizens aren't getting, and it's to our detriment. And so we have to really be savvy about who is going to do something for us. And at this point, I'm probably leaving the Democratic Party. I haven't decided, but I'm definitely not going to continue to support these policies that are detrimental to Black people.
Thank you so much. Constance?
So yeah, I definitely left the Democratic Party. I'm an independent. And I didn't even know. I totally forgot when I registered to vote when I moved out here, because I was trying to vote for Angela Alsobrooks, and I couldn't even vote for her in the primaries. So I was like, oh shit, I forgot. I couldn't even vote Democrat. But anyway, let me just say this: I love Black people. I hella love Black. I'm from the Bay. We use it or hella. I hella love Black people. I do. And Forex. I just want to say Forex. The comments he's making is so on point. We need to be so cold as a people that we don't give a fuck about who's in office. Do you ever see the Asian people pontificating on who's in office? They're so insulated because they work together, because the wealth stays in their community, because they are building wealth together, is that they don't even care about who's in office because it doesn't affect them. That's how we need to be as a people, Black people. I want y'all to really get that in your mind, because unless there is a total overhaul in the U.S. government, which it will never be, no matter what you do, and I will vote, right? Because I remember seeing pictures of my ancestors hanging from trees and signs said, "This nigga voted." So I will vote just on that alone. I might leave it blank for who I vote for president, because I did that last election. I ain't even gonna front. I didn't vote for either one because I didn't think either one was good. But we just need to be so insulated as a community that it doesn't affect us. Now, he also talked about the social engineering that's happened to Black people over the years. 100%. Since we've landed on this soil, we've been oppressed. We've had redlining, predatory lending, Jim Crow, all of the things that held us back as Black people. So for us to be where we are, and as accelerated as we are, because I want to give us props, Black people. Wealth in this country is built through real estate. That's the number one way to wealth. And 43% of us are homeowners, are real estate investors, or have real estate. Even though our white counterparts are at 70%, 43% with everything that's been pushed against us. So we need to give ourselves a hand, because we're resilient, because we have overcome all of that and still have done the things that we need to do to build wealth. But We need to work harder, work to get more together. Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma wasn't the only place where we practiced collective economics, where the dollar stayed in our community a year before it left. We need to start looking to ourselves first. There was I was looking at a YouTube from a gentleman named Solomon Barrow a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about how he's Jewish, and he was talking about how the Jewish keep wealth in their families. The number one way that they do collective economics. They look to themselves first. They buy with themselves first. They don't even look at nobody else unless they cannot find the services within themselves. But here we are saying, stupid shit like, and this pisses me off because I know y'all heard it. Some of us may have said it. I don't do business with Black people.
Girl, yes.
I just want to slap the shit out of people when they say stupid shit like that, because they have already brainwashed you. They're not going to do business with us. So if they not going to do business with us and we ain't going to do business with us, who the hell going to do business with us? And so we got to get out of that mindset. Even if a Black person messes up, you'll give an Asian, you'll go to a Chinese restaurant over and over and over again, allow them to give you bad service and everything else, but you ain't going to go to that soul food restaurant no more because old girl done rolled her eyes at you and had an attitude. So we have to change our thinking and how we've been brainwashed over the years with this social engineering, and we got to look to ourselves first. So yeah, I'm an independent. And I don't know what I'm gonna do come voting time, but that's where I'm at. I love y'all.
Thank you. We love you too. Athena, what is your political affiliation and why do you vote that way? And then I have a follow-up question for you.
I'm independent. My vote is for sale.
So you're registered independent?
Yes.
Have you always been?
No. I think previously I was Democratic, but that was like definitely when Trump and Biden was running the first time around. I was definitely I was Democratic at that point, registered, but I didn't vote for them. I didn't vote for either of them at that time.
My follow-up question was based off of something that Constance just said about the Jewish dollar. I don't know the stats, so I'm wondering if you know the stats, Athena. I think they were saying something like on average the Jewish dollar remains in the Jewish community and circulates 30 times before it leaves the community. Do you know on average how long the Black dollar stays within the Black community before it circulates out of the
6 hours.
6 hours.
Okay. Wow, did y'all catch that, chat? 6 hours. In comparison.
I was even a lot of my care providers and stuff. If I can support a Black business, I will. If I can support a Black business, I will. I think that as someone who's also in business and understand the challenges that Black business owners face, sometimes some of the issues that we might come across is because of lack of education or a lack of resources or an understanding of customer service. I think that customer service thing is 100% an issue that we need to address. But I don't think that we should just write off Black businesses if they make a mistake, when similarly as discussed, all these other businesses do all kind of craziness and we still signing up. Starbucks done put 50 million racist ads and we still buying the drink. Well, I'm not, but things like that.
Got you. Well, I mean, I personally, I don't know. I don't have an issue with customer service when I go to Black establishments. But maybe it's just because, the establishments I go to, what my expectation is, but I literally, I don't, for me, that's not an issue. But I don't know how y'all feel about that. But people have a bad day. At the end of the day, I want to put the money back into my brothers and sisters' pockets. Now, you all said that the Black dollar stays within the Black community or circulates within the Black community for 6 hours and before it leaves out. And I saw something just now that said 13 seconds. Either way, wow. Right? On average, how long is the Asian dollar staying within the Black community? How long is the Jewish dollar staying within the Jewish community? In comparison to 13 seconds or 6 hours. I just think that's.
And Asians have the lowest voting rate of any group.
Yes, ma'am, they do. Talk about it. You want to add some more to that, Dr. Charm?
I just think it's about respect and political power, and voting does not equivocate to political power. As I mentioned, that the Asians have the lowest voter rate of any group, but yet we just, as soon as Biden got in office, we had to stop Asian hate movement and a Asian hate crime bill. So again, it's about power. Back to Dr. Anderson, power.
I ain't never seen no Asian hate though. We're like, just a couple of incidences happened. Now we got to propose bills and shit. This is crazy. But we've been facing 400 years of discrimination and murder and brutality. And
let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. Why do you think we cannot get reparations?
Because we don't have wealth power. We don't have economic power. They do. It's all about the money, y'all. It's they use race to divide us. But it's all about the dollar, and the dollar gives you power, and that's it. And when we ain't got it, because we don't got it, so they don't care about us. So we over here scrambling to vote. We begging them for little stuff, handouts and stuff like that. And that's the reason I don't like the Democratic Party, is because they keep us dependent on them. You know, we need to be self-sufficient, independent, dependent on each other, dependent on our community. But they keep us, they get a little welfare, and they get the foods. I remember one time when I first got my real estate license, I was telling my brother's baby mama, girl, you gotta, she had a little job. We was in Silicon Valley. She had a job, probably getting paid $20 an hour or something like that. And I was like, girl, you gotta buy a house. She's like, girl, give up this Section 8, give up this housing. That's the mindset and the mentality of our people a lot of times and so they give us these little things and it makes us dependent, and we have to get out of that thinking. We got to look out for the whole of our community than just, we're so caught up in this, capitalism and this rugged individualism, that the Eurocentric individualism that we have been taught, but we have to start thinking group wise, community wise, community first, our people first. Jewish look to themselves first. Arabs look to themselves first. Asians look to themselves first. And we looking at everybody else. And ain't nobody gonna come to save us but us.
We have to cultivate a sense of self-preservation. And Dr. Anderson said it best. If we got together as a voting bloc and says we're going to vote for whoever gives us what we want on this particular issue, because this whole Trump is a racist, and he's going to have us in slavery and chains. They used that in the last election. Joe Biden has done more to detriment to the Black family than Trump ever could with his policies in the 50 years that he's been in Congress. Okay. And so we really need to get together and say, whoever is going to give us what we want on these issues, reparations, police brutality, economic inclusion, economic power, whoever's going to do that, that's who's going to get our vote. And then everybody would be scrambling if we were really serious about it. But they just use tradition and fear to make us vote.
Absolutely. And just wanted to cite the stats. Officially, a Black Star Project study on the racial wealth gap calculates that $1 circulates 6 hours in the Black community, 20 days in the Jewish community, and 30 days in the Asian community. Okay, so 6 hours for us, 20 days for the Jewish community, and 30 days in the Asian community. That needs to be fixed and rectified. Yep, Erica, I was going right over to you.
I'm a consultant on the side, and I help small businesses open up boutique businesses in the health and wellness sector. So I just helped a couple open a studio in a very Jewish community, and they are a Black couple. And it has been quite interesting. I started with them in October. They finally had their grand opening a few months ago. And when I tell you, it was like pulling teeth to get to partner with these communities, because all in those small communities where it's predominantly Jewish, they have their, we support Israel signs, which is, no problem. They support Israel. However, the key thing with business is that all of those businesses in the area, get this, were all small mom and pop. Now, what was very interesting to me is that everybody that has a business here lives in the community. These folks that I'm working with, they opened a franchise, which is a large conglomerate. And when I tell you that this community was not feeling them at all in the beginning, they didn't want to hear it. And it had nothing to do with complexion. It had nothing to do with that. It was the fact that this is a large corporation and we support our own. They wanted to keep their money in their community. They were not letting their money come out. What I also find interesting is that in the area, now that they're starting to get a little bit of a buzz and a brand name, what I do find interesting is that there is a predominantly large Asian community that has now come out. But why is that? We hired an Asian employee. So you get to really see the dynamics in this area as to how, everybody views money. Yeah, they want to keep their money in their community. And guess what? They do.
Thank you for that, Erica. And I have a follow-up question for you as well. How can the Black community mobilize like the LGBTQIA plus community? Because they obviously have a lot of traction. They seem to be very organized and well-resourced.
Well, I think that with the LGBTQ community, I think because they have a lot of power players in political positions, I think that has a lot to do with it. So they're able to, get their point across of what it is that they want, what they need, and because a lot of their people in their community are sitting at the table, so they get immediately first dibs on what they need and want. And I think that has to do a lot with what happens with other communities, with the Asian community. You have a lot of political aides that are from the Asian community, from the Indian community, from the Hispanic community. You have a lot of folks that are in politics, but when it comes to us, it's one few and in between. And then it's like, okay, well, you're over here. We're more pushed to the side as if we are the help. So I think it's because we really just don't have key players that are sitting at the table. And if we do, they're not in a position, or they're afraid to take position to say, hey, I need to represent my people, for fear of kickback or whatever's going to happen to them.
Erica, can I just say that fear, we let everybody in on our issues. They don't. We let the black and brown. When we say black, we got to say brown. When we say black, we got to say people of color. We got to include the LGBT. Let's stand on black issues. We got black issues that nobody else has. We've been here longer than anybody else has. We've been dealing with some things that nobody else deals with, but yet we got to throw everybody in our issues just to be accepted, and it waters down our issues.
Civil rights was built for us, for our issues, but everybody is using civil rights for what it is that they need, and they're getting it. But civil rights, so it's like, we can't win, but we marched, bled, and died and fought for it, but we can't use it.
So I have a question for the panel. Do we look like beggars? Like, do we look like we're begging for them to respect our vote, begging for them to respect our group? Should we just be like F everybody and just mobilize? Like, what?
I'm gonna let Constance answer that question, because I think she spoke to that earlier. Go ahead, Constance.
No, I don't think it's begging. I think we have rights. We have rights, right? We deserve certain things, but number one, I say, beyond the voting and asking and begging and everything else that you're saying that we do, we got to come together, because that's going to be the most effective thing. Just like you said, I didn't even know that the Asians voted the least, but it makes sense, because their wealth is probably 10 times more than ours. So they're not affected by these policies that are put in place. They're not affected by the discrimination and the affirmative action that was taken away. They're getting all of the benefits that, just like Erica said, we fought for. So no, we got to take our rightful places. It's ours. We are owed what we're owed. We are owed 100% reparations. That's ours. We were supposed to get that 40 acres and a mule. And they took it away from us. That was ours. We worked this land for 150 years for free. And then white people came over and they got land for free. They got homesteaded land, millions of acres for land for free. And then then they tell us, then they say, because I'll post some political shit, and white people and trolls be coming out, and they be like, that's because y'all lazy. Y'all got free land. Y'all wealth from off of our backs, and we lazy?
Right. Dr. Charm, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I just, I think that the begging and thing, it's begging when you ask for it and then nothing is done, and then you keep asking. So if we demand it and if we ask for it and then nothing is done, then we change how we're voting, then we'll get results. But if they know, every 4 years we gonna say, well, we need this, but then they know we're gonna vote 90%. What's the stats, producer? 90%. Democrat. 90%. Well, then they know they're gonna have our vote. So we need to change our behavior. That's the only way you're gonna get results, is change behavior.
Absolutely. Thank you all for that. Now we are winding down, but we do want to take some questions from the chat, and put up some comments and respond to a couple things from the chat, because the chat is really popping today, y'all. You're tuned in right here at Fly Nubian Money, where we are live weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely make sure you text the word Queens to the number 87948. That's 87948. And definitely go over to our website, flynubianmoney.com, and we're here to help you master your mindset and maximize your money. So go over to flynubianmoney.com and check out our programming. And also, if you are a queen that wants to get your money right, definitely go over there. And if you've got what it takes to be a guest on Fly Nubian Queen and Fly Nubian Money, please email us at info@realvirtual.net. That's REEL virtual.net. info@REEL virtual.net. Okay, so let's see what the chat's talking about before we get up out of here. Let's see.
You know what, Salaya Benya, his comment threw me through the roof. Like, I was
Yeah, let me read this. Hold on. Yeah, Athena, I'm going to read it. So it says, I believe we do have economic power. We are not disciplined. It's so-called poor people in line for shoes, Black Friday, nails, hair, chicken sandwiches, cyber cars, etc. Chicken sandwiches, though?
Y'all know that Popeye sandwich was slapping. Everybody was fighting.
I mean, yeah, you know, you put a little coleslaw on it. It was actually pretty good.
And sweet heat sauce. Y'all know they was fighting.
Listen, this is a lot going on, Athena. I know you like that comment. Joni says each state has rules on how the independent party can join in to arena with other two parties. I don't understand. Yeah, we definitely saw that. Cyber cars. Diamond, demand reparations for slavery and you will get it, but you must demand it. Reparations now.
You know, I think if I could jump in on that, I think with the reparations, I think what's funny is that when you have the Asian hate bill, I think we are slowly watching our reparations being spent on other people. This is what
did y'all see that the wife, now this was a post that I saw on Twitter, the wife allegedly of Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, just bought a brand new Bugatti with American tax dollars, literally. And they have like the actual invoice like of her buying the car. That is
have to look at the relationship. Look at the relationship Biden's son had with Ukraine. I mean, there's a whole history going on with this Ukraine situation that we're just not paying attention to. We are watching our reparations being spent on other people's issues. It's funneling everybody. It's just taking care of everybody else's backyard and not being spent here.
Everybody getting a welfare check, but when we ask for reparations, they trying to say that's a welfare check when it's a debt.
So what I want Black people to do is, you guys know what a susu is? Get a small group of people that you trust, maybe your family members, 5-10 people, and you guys come together and you guys put your money together. And every time, this is what the Jewish people do, this is what Asian people do. Every time somebody wants to start a business or they want to buy a house, then they get a percentage of that money, or they all vote on how much they're going to give them so that they can go out into their lives. I'm doing that with my kids. And I was telling my kids the other day, and my son was like, why am I put money in there when I can do it? My Negro, we practicing group economics in this. But I think, if you want to figure out a way that you could do it, even on a small level, y'all get together with some of your friends and y'all start practicing collective economics in that way. Barry Gordy, I went to Motown a couple months ago. I went to and the way he started Motown, it was they were very advanced. His parents were business owners, and what they used to do as a family is they would put money in a pot. They would put a certain percentage of their paychecks in a pot, and every time somebody wanted to do something, they would give them money to go out and do it. So how he started Motown is everybody was putting a certain amount in the pot, and he said, hey, I need $1,000, and they all voted. They said, we'll give you $800, and Motown was started on this idea, this collective economics within their family of $800, and now the rest is history. So something small like that we can do as Black people ourselves to start creating generational wealth.
Thank you so much. So we are this is a very fruitful conversation, a very lively conversation, and I'm just so grateful to be here with you, powerful queens. So let's go around. We're going to start with Dr. Charm. Let us know your final thoughts on today's conversation, any takeaways you have, as well as where we can find you and support your work.
Look, we got to change this behavior that we've been engaging in. Lyndon Baines Johnson was prophetic. He had Black people voting for 50 years, and we really haven't had significant policy since getting the Civil Rights Act sign into order, which everybody has benefited from, in addition to us. But it seems like everybody is utilizing it for their benefit to our detriment. So we have got to change behavior. You all can find me on IG at CharmGirl77. I have a stand-up show this weekend, a clean comedy brunch Sunday at Atlanta Comedy Theater for our Atlanta folks, 2 p.m. Y'all can go to my Instagram for tickets. And then for anybody wanting spiritual readings, mediumship or tarot, you got my number there, 404-832-5179.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Erica?
Oh, that was quick. I was so engulfed in what she was saying. I'm like, I want to go to the show, but I'm not in the A. Girl, have a great show. Everybody, like I said, we are in a critical time. Things are changing all around us, and we just need to be more cognizant and aware as to what we need as a people, where we desire to go as a people. We're going to look up in the next 50 years are going to be upon us, and we need to have a difference between the last 50 years. My name is Erica Lewis. I'm the author of Faith in Transition. You can find me on my website at faithintransition.com, along with my latest book, Faith in Transition, My Journey to 50. And you can find me on all social medias at Miss Erica Renee.
Excellent. Thank you. Athena?
Hi, everyone. My name is Athena. You can find me at We Wealth Woman or go to www.wewealthwoman.com. I am a CPA and women's wealth coach, and you can find all my information there.
Thank you so much. Any final thoughts? Big takeaways? Athena?
Oh, me? Oh, final thoughts. Yes. Sorry. Final thoughts would be this. Listen, get informed, vote based off what you think is great for you. If you don't know what that is or what we need to vote for as a people, remember the book, Powernomics, Chapter 7. That will put you on game. You are valuable as a Black person. Your vote means something, and do not let them get it for free.
Thank you. Constance?
So I just want to say, y'all know, if it's not apparent yet, I love Black people, and I just want the best for us. I know when I was in high school and I was the president of the BSU, and we had a grade deficiency. I was trying to close the grade gap for Black people because we had a D- in my school district, and so I've always been about closing that gap, for the deficiencies that have been put upon us. Like it didn't happen to us by happenstance. This was social engineering, as Forex Training video said. So I want us to really look at ourselves first. I heard someone say, I think it was one of my mentors, Dr. George Fraser. He said, Jewish people are planning for the next 20 years. White people are planning for the next 20 years. Asian people are planning for the next 20 years. Black people are planning for Saturday night. We have to get out of that mindset where we're not looking further. We're not looking outward within our community. We got to look in our community first, because listen, while we are looking at other people, they are looking within. White people worried about white people, Asian people worried about Asian people, and we worried about all of them, and we ain't worried about ourselves. And this is why we have not grown as a people. They done fucked around and gave us the internet. We have all that we need. We have more power in the palm of our hands than when they put the man on the moon. So you have access to the information out there. So I want you to get that information. I want you to start implementing and utilizing it, and understand that we need to save ourselves first. And so no politician is going to do anything for you. Yes, vote. Yes, go out there in droves and do what you got to do. But look to us first. Look to Black people first. Start doing business with us. Period. It's all about the dollar. It's more about the dollar than it is about the color. But we gotta look to our community first. You can find me. You can see me on everywhere. I am Constance Carter. You guys follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram, on YouTube. Please, please, please. But I love y'all. I love Black people for real in real life. Oh, I work with Black women. I coach Black women from all over the country on how we can increase our net worth to over $1 million. That's my goal. It's my heart. It's my passion.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. I am Jade Harrell. I am an educator, organizer, activist, consultant in education, media, and politics. I'm really grateful to have been a part of this conversation today. This is my final words. I'm going to read a message from earntheblackvote.net. It says, tell President Joe Biden, Black voters hold the key to the Democratic Party's success in 2024. The Black electorate also wants to win in 2024. The only action the president can take to excite the Black base and reverse the defection of 2.9 million Black voters who disapprove of the president is to establish a reparations commission via executive order now. Okay, the message is simple. So, yes, my vote is for sale. I am a registered independent, very, very proud of it. I'm really excited that, yeah, I got off the Democratic plantation, and you can too. Make sure you know that voting is transactional. So with that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Fly Nubian Money. We are here again weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. We had an all-star panel today. We have all-star panels every day. So make sure y'all come on over and check us out. Definitely text the word Queens to the number 87948. That's 87948. And follow us on Spotify. So thank you, Erica. Thank you, Athena. Thank you, Dr. Charm. And thank you, Constance. Thank you, chat. We will continue to build on all things politics because this is a very, very tumultuous election season. And it's a tumultuous 2024. I think we should get Dr. Charm to come back on and just really tell us what's going on astrologically and spiritually speaking, because I think people are just tripping. The world is tripping right now, but we're going to continue to have these conversations on politics. But thank you all so much and have a blessed day. Take care.